Shawty wanted excuse me, I don't mean to disturb y'all. T-Dog, man, I need to holler at you, man. I need something else.
What you doing around here? Didn't I tell you not to come around here no more?
I know, my bad, man. I got a flight this afternoon, and I just need something for the ride, please.
Next time you bring your money, no more freebies, son. Like that 112, right?
Yo, what's up, y'all? We're back with another action figure review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the City Thug from Takethat Studios and Crazy Figure. One of 3 figures in a wave. I gather they're all using the same body, and this figure kind of reminds me of the V-Toys figure body 0, which popped up in my countdown to 2021. I'll put a link for that in the description below. But when it comes to paint and articulation, this figure is much better. So I forgot to bring my rule out, but this guy actually stands about 7 inches, so he's tall. So it might get a little tricky finding 4th-party clothes that's going to fit this guy, but in general, I like the way this man turned out. I like that they gave this figure soft goods, but the one thing about that though is they kind of bunch up in the torso area when you're articulating, so that's a little thing you got to get over. And my copy seems to have this long black line on his back, looks almost like a vein, so that's kind of weird. I really like the sculpt work they did for his shoes. The swoosh looks good. Paintwork is not as clean, but given the look, it kind of works. They've even got some aged detail to make it look like he's had it for a while. That's really cool, and some cool ass designs for the bottom too. Looks accurate. They did a great job on these sweatpants or joggers too. That stitch work looks really good. This original logo looks good, and the string right here is actually wired, so that's an interesting touch. It's a good thing about it and a bad thing about it. Like if you're a really particular person when it comes to posing, like getting the movement of the string might get a little time consuming, but I think I'd rather have it wired than not. And then you have elastic for the waist part of his pants and his underwear. Got a couple of different tattoos, including this lighter with the flame. It says fun on it. That looks really cool. This looks like a Rottweiler and a panther. That's done really well. It's got like a tribal sun tattoo, 2 pocket knives, and this tattoo right here, I'm not quite sure what this says, and I don't think my camera's gonna pick it up much, but this guy's got shading all over him too. It's like a reddish pink. It's done all over his body, a little heavy on the upper torso, not as much on the arms and the lower torso, so they could have made that a little bit more fluid. See, I bought this figure because I'm digging this animated look to him. Like he looks like somebody that popped up out of the Boondocks or something like that. Some people have said he's looked like T'Challa. I remember in the promotional images though, he was like a shade or 2 darker, so it looks like they went a little lighter for the final product, and his face kind of reminds me of a clash between D'Angelo and Mel Jackson in the Soul Food movie. There's like some brown airbrushing towards the front of his hair. It looks almost transparent, so that's kind of cool. Light brown for his eyes, and they did a good job with that too. It's got a nice finish to it. From certain angles, it looks like he's looking up a little bit, but it's not too bad. Quick look at his accessories. He's got this pit bull right here, which is done really good. The sculpt work for his muscles looks great. The facial features for him, the teeth and everything, it looks good. It's got some shading all over it too. Like that's a nice looking dog. His jaw does not move. It doesn't go up and down or anything like that, and his head doesn't move. Like when I first saw it, even looking at it, like you could almost swear like the separation and stuff, it looks like it's supposed to be some movement right there, but they decided against it. Looks like a real belt though for his collar. I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, man, the dog looks real good. Quick look at that hand. It's got some nice detail to it, some airbrush and nice detail for the fingers. It's got a slight flex to it, and you do have a left and right for that. Here you have the switchblade accessory, which looks really good. It's got some detail to it too. The one thing about this though is it's really small compared to his hand size, and the grip for it is really loose. Like you got to kind of finesse it a little bit, turn it to the side and put it in his hand. So I wish they would have did that a little bit better, but it should look real good with your smaller scale figures. And here we have a shotgun here, and this shotgun looks really good. Nice dry brush into a nice sculpt work and detail, and I think this part at the bottom, yeah, that does move. I'm not too familiar with guns, so you gotta excuse me. There is a hole at the nozzle. You cannot fit any Valiverse effects in there, so that's unfortunate. They should have included an effect for that. My one real gripe with this accessory is I wish the handle was scaled a little bit bigger to fit in his hand, so you might have to finesse that a little bit in your photos. And here we have his shades, and they look real good. Nice, man. This dude is styling, real jig, man. I really like the way these look. Nice little clear, transparent look. You can see the eyes inside. They don't hold on to his head as well as I'd like them to. And here we have his chain, which is actually a real chain, like it's magnetized and stuff. So that's a nice touch. And be careful when you're swapping out the hands, because it's really tight trying to get that hand onto that pig. So this guy looks pretty good visually. No complaints, except his legs look kind of skinny and the airbrushing is kind of inconsistent. So I'm going to give him a 9 for his look. As far as his accessories, the one thing he should have came with that he didn't was the 2 pairs of fist hands. And I noticed there's a blank body on sale with 5K toys that actually includes the fist hand, so I thought that was a little cheap. But I'm gonna give him an 8.5 for accessories. For your articulation, the moment we've all been waiting on, you can see we got some really nice double ball peg action happening. Looks like they did a really good job with it. They put the ball just at the end of that cavity. He looks up a really good amount. Like for a guy that does not have a joint at the neck, that's actually pretty good. He does not look down that much, so for his height, that's a little unfortunate. He does have some really good range going side to side. He does get full rotation at the head, full rotation at the shoulders. Arms can go out a really good amount. He does have a nice rotation at the bicep. The design for it is a little funky. How they got that dip right there for it. It's a little odd, but I'm sure I'll live. He does have really good range at the elbows. Look at that. That's magical right there. I like that. Looking sweet ass. Universal hinge and rotation at the wrist, so you can do whatever you want with that. As far as his arms going in, there's no butterfly joint. No cut for that, so that is unfortunate. And you can't even cross your arms anyway because his chest is going to limit his bicep rotation. But he does go back a pretty decent amount. I'll take that. A little gappy, but I'll live. There are 2 joints at his torso, but because of the one at his abdomen, like there's a lot of extra meat sculpted by his pelvis, so moving it side to side is going to be a little bit tricky, like almost non-existent basically. So you're gonna just mostly use that top one. But as far as his ab crunch though, using both of those joints, he goes forward a great amount. That's superb. That's what I like to see right there. Does leave it pretty gappy, but that looks wonderful. For a guy in some fabric, his leg range is actually really good. I like that. You can get it out a pretty good amount right there. And you can kind of move it around on that ball joint. It kind of curves out a little bit, but you can get those legs up just a little bit further. So that's all right. Does have a nice movement at the knees. I think the other leg actually works a little bit deeper, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. So let's try this one. Yeah, look at that. That's some nice range for them knees. I don't know what's going on with the other one. As you can see, though, he does have a good thigh rotation right there as well. A full cut right there, so that's awesome. In this fabric, he can also get his legs out a really good amount. Just be real careful with that. I try to hike up the pants just before you do all of that. Let me check on the undercarriage, make sure everything is still a go. He doesn't have a rotation at the calf, but he does have a rotation at the ankle. And that piece right there by the ankle, you want to be careful with that. It actually kind of bends a little bit, and I'm pretty sure it's not designed to be that way. So be careful how you're articulating it, and it does say so on the packaging as well. But he does have some pretty decent range at the ankles, going down, going up. It's looking pretty good. As far as going in, that could be just a little bit better. But for a guy in some shoes like those, some high tops, man, like I think that his articulation for his ankles is actually pretty good. So yeah, not too bad in the articulation. His ankles could use a little bit more work. His arms going forward could be a little bit more. He can't cross his arms for anything. As far as his thigh swivel, it's a little bit loose. So I'm going to give his articulation an 8.9 and his quality an 8.9. Won't you come closer? For some quick size comparisons, here we have it next to the Jada Toys Ryu, the Rebotech Manjiro Sano, who I still got to get rid of, and your Rebotech All Might. Next, here we have it next to your Storm Collectibles Eva Ryu, your Class 5 Series Snake Eyes, your 3-0 Iron Man, which was actually in my top 2022 countdown. I put a link for that in the description below, and your SH Figure Wars Goku. And lastly, here we have it next to your True Force Mega Man, your Mythic Legions, your Mayfek Cyclops, and your Kotobukiya Zero Model. So final thoughts on the Take That Studio Crazy Figure City Thug. This figure is ultimately a pretty solid offering. Some small quality control issues, but mostly I'm pretty sour he didn't come with any fist hands, especially for that price. In my opinion, this figure is only worth $64, maybe $69, but I mean, I would still grab him at 5K Toys. Final score, I'm going to give this guy an 8.9. All right, y'all, that's my video. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.